Okay, so before I talk about what we're going to be watching to possibly trade in the chat room on Monday, November 25th, I want to thank everyone who posted on Friday, loving the teamwork and the variety of setups that we've been watching for. I know you guys know it's coming. I got a hat tip to Kevin P for DXYZ. His call was over 42, and I'm going to go to 5-minute candles and show you the setup. I could kind of zoom in there first. So it topped out early at 42.42, and then I think right there hit 41.99. Right there hit 41.98. So his idea was back through 42, kind of that horizontal line there. And look what happens when it gets back through 42. It was off to the races and went to 46.20 without ever being underwater. Love those calls. Great call, Kevin P. You know what? Even like Miguel gave a 43 pullback idea. And let me see. I'm trying to figure out where that was. That was later in the day, I believe. What was the low here? Because I know he picked it to the penny. Yeah, he was calling a 43 pullback idea right here. And that was a pretty neat call too. It literally pegged the bottom of that pullback. I apologize for not being more prepared for this video. I just went ahead and cranked out a list and thought I'm going to jump on without, without taking screenshots and giving exact setups and all that. So anyway, that was a cool pullback play, Miguel. Nice job. I want to give a hat tip to Kendall, a brand new member in the room. First day in the room. I had mentioned over the mic that Lunar, L-U-N-R, over the early highs, which was 1444, has a nearby high, and I'll go to the daily to show you that, which would have been 1480, and then another potential high at 1490. So I said you had stacked catalysts. Now let me go back to, now that I showed you the daily, back to the 5-minute candles. So I mentioned over the mic, if it breaks opening range breakout, which would be over that early high, which would be right here, somewhere this time of day I mentioned it. As it got close, Kendall's first day in the room, he said, hey, typed out something, I'm paraphrasing, LUNR is getting close. Pretty cool to see somebody on their first day give one of those reminder posts. So if anyone had taken their eyes off LUNR, they got another chance to get the entry, right? So hat tip, Kendall, enjoy having you in the room. It's going to be good to have an extra set of eyes who seems to be on board, right? And by the way, the lunar high of day break from 1445 went to 1555. So a nice trade there. And then late in the day, I gave QUBT, and I know I'm showing you 5-minute candles. The early high was 530. I'm going to go to the daily real quick, and then I'll get into the watch list. So the early high was 530. If you look to the left, Thursday's high was 531. So picture this. This candle was forming. It hadn't run yet, but I pointed out that the early high was 530, and that Friday's high, or Thursday's high, was 531. So basically back through 530, you had the way we define it, a 2-day high break, right? The break of the previous day's high plus the intraday high on a 5-minute basis there. And so look what happens. You get the cup, you get the handle, and then you get the 530 break, and it went all the way to 640. And that was my call over the mic. So anyway, some nice stuff on Friday. Again, I said this in chat on Friday. I'm really enjoying all the people watching for the buy zones on pullbacks, because it's adding a whole new element to the chat room, giving us, I feel like, way more A+ entries being posted than if we were just watching for intraday breakouts and that sort of thing. So the pullback play group, you're all doing a great job. All right, I babbled long enough. What are we watching on Monday? QUBT is stupid extended, but that whole space is hot, so we're going to watch it. SOUN broke the highs from early November on Friday with fervor, had nice volume, so we're going to watch that one for a continuation. DXYZ, great call again by Kevin P on Friday. It's holding up really well, right? You had this massive run, put in a lower high, then on Friday tried to take out that lower high, but closed below it. But to me, that's still an in-play stock, so it goes on watch. QMCO is, and I mentioned this in the video on Thursday night for Friday's list, is one to watch because quantum computing plays are so hot right now. And lo and behold, it absolutely ripped. Also worth noting, I generally don't trade after hours on Friday because you don't see a lot of action. But if you notice, this topped out at 10:50, and I just wanted to share this with you. Even on a Friday, let me go to extended hours. So if there's the 10:50 intraday high, if you notice in after hours, it broke that and went to almost 11:50. And had that been another day of the week, I probably would have still been, had my charts open and been watching that and taking that trade. But again, it just proves that even on Friday, I guess the gappers can work, right? Or not the gappers, but the strong closes that might run in after hours. We have a group of us that generally play after hours. And I bailed on Friday, and it's okay because I also want to have a life, right? But it did work, right? PDYN, very strong day. Tied in with that deal with RCAT, which I'll show you that chart's been on fire, RCAT on fire. So PDYN was in the headline with them and had a big breakout there. Certainly extended, but we're going to watch that one. XCUR, crazy extended, but again, let me go to 5-minute candles and show you this. I think it's worth talking about. There's the open, and it topped out early, and then at the very close to the end of the day, it breaks to new highs. That's a perfect example of a stock that short's been piling in, and then you get a strong close, and if you're smart enough to watch it in after hours, which again I wasn't, there's the high near the end of the day, 1962. Look what happens when it breaks it. It goes all the way to 27 something. So again, lesson, if you get a proper close on one of these during the session, even on a Friday, you can get a nice move. Again, I wanted to start my weekend, but I feel like I missed a couple really nice ones. NA, and by the way, one last thing. And the nice thing about after hours is they don't have those volatility halts, right? So that's a lot of times why shorts get in big trouble on a stock like that XCUR that's making an irrational move and then has a strong close. The lack of volatility halts is a lot of reason why shorts can get really, really burned. So they're definitely worth watching in after hours, all right? NA's just been really strong. We'll keep that one on watch. RGTI is also in that quantum computing space that I've been talking about. That's red hot, QBTS, QUBT, all those. So RGTI is kind of lagging some of those. Makes it worth watching, right? Because you got potential stacked catalysts on Monday, with Friday's high being 185 and then just above that 189 from a week and a half before that. So you do have a decent chart setup on RGTI if that space gets moving again. NNE looks just like a continuation play. We had it on watch going into Friday, and oh wow, it continued. But if you watched it on intraday basis, look what it did. It popped early, went out, took out the low of day by a penny, goes back to the high of day, then tanks for the next couple hours, and then ends up going out at the high of day. So this is the NNE. I remember, a very whippy, hard to trade stock usually, but it did have a strong close, and you do have this 37.51 potential catalyst from June. So that means I'm going to keep it on watch. That's one of those baby nuclear plays. SMR, very strong again, same space. We're going to watch that one. SYM, gapped up on earnings 4 sessions ago. Topped out at 41 even, pulled back and is getting back near there. So that one is holding up pretty well. Definitely worth watching. PLTR, AI space, and it's had a huge run. Everyone thinks it's extended, needs to come back in, but it's flagging and starting to curl back up. And then if you look at the stock AI itself, it's just on absolute fire. So PLTR, I'm going to watch for that flag break on Monday. WOLF, beaten up stock, but had pretty good volume on Friday, and actually a pretty big move when you look at the range 682 to 872. Percentage-wise, that's a big move. Could have a continuation day on Monday. CLSK, I wanted to throw a Bitcoin play on there because, I think most of us are expecting Bitcoin to break 100,000. As I'm talking to you, it's trading at 95, but it almost hit 100,000 on Friday. So I picked a random CLSK, I picked a random Bitcoin play that has, potential catalyst still above. And one other one, just because it's been crazy, is BTCT. I'm going to treat it like a bounce play because it's had 3 red days in a row down to the 8th day. And especially if Bitcoin catches fire, this is one to watch. I've babbled long enough. I'll see you guys in chat. We'll work together in the pre-market and add some gappers to this list. Have a great Sunday, and we'll see you tomorrow.